So Mia is our fourth child, and she was born very healthy, and at the age of 15 months she was developing very well, just as a typical child and a 15-month-old who was walking and playing and jumping. Then we started to notice some symptoms where Mia would wake up during the night and she would be in pain. It began to happen too hourly, where she would cry out and you could tell she was in pain. Her body would be writhing and she couldn't speak about it, but I knew that there was something terribly wrong. We sought help from the doctors multiple times, yet there was no answers. We went to the emergency room and they couldn't find anything wrong with Mia. We tried to continue our lives as normal, going to work and managing the family with little sleep, and it was really difficult. And we reached out to family and friends to pray and keep the faith and pray for healing for Mia, even though we didn't know what was wrong with her. One day I got a call from a family member saying Mia was not coping. So I left work early for the day and headed to the emergency room, and I was determined to stay there until I was able to get an answer from the doctors. So hours of tests and assessments, blood tests, urine samples, x-ray. An x-ray finally came back with a result of a bulge in Mia's spine. And so we were thrilled, not that there was an issue, but we finally had an answer to what was happening with Mia's body. They explained that Mia had osteomyelitis, which was an infection in her vertebrae and discs in her spine. And although it was hard to hear, we were relieved that they said she was able to go and have treatment. They advised that 6 weeks of antibiotics day and night would help in treating the infection, as it was quite a serious one, a Kingella infection, as it would only show up in 1 in 4 years for paediatric patients. After many nights in the hospital, lying awake thinking about the sickness and disease that surrounded us, we were determined to keep our faith in God and know that whatever we experienced, that our faith would remain strong and that we would believe that God is the healer, and our experience would not affect how we see him. They said it would take 6 weeks of antibiotics day and night, and we were to stay in the hospital while Mia was getting her treatment. A turnaround happened as we reached out to family and friends to pray for us and keep faith that God was the healer. We were meant to spend 6 weeks there, and we ended up only spending 6 days, as Mia's recovery was so quick. The next few months, Mia recovered slowly and started walking again as normal. We had multiple x-rays to see how Mia's spine was going. The doctors explained that the vertebrae and the disc, because the disc was gone, the vertebrae were fusing together, and it would take about 6 months for that to happen. So we would come back and have that final x-ray to see the result for Mia, and it may lead to decreased mobility for Mia, but maybe not a disability. So again, our faith was put to the test, and we kept praying that God would come through, whatever the result. So 6 months later, we went and sat with the doctor, and I remember seeing a smile on his face as we looked up at the wall at the 2 x-rays side by side. The one where you could see the clear impacted vertebra, and then the other one showing a perfect spine where instead of fusing together, the disc had regenerated and the vertebrae were perfectly intact. I knew that God had moved. It was an absolute miracle. We were so thankful that God had restored Mia and her back to perfection and better than it was at the start.